Hey everybody, it's Carpo. I hope you're all doing well tonight. I'm doing a lot better than I was yesterday. At least I can stand up. Um, Two things I wanted to say here before I forget. I was actually just watching this show and I heard this great quote. I just shared it with Truthstone, but I wanted to share it with you guys. It's anyone who tells you that they have the truth, or if someone tells you they have the truth, be assured it's a pretext to getting taken. And not necessarily getting taken, materially, but getting taken mentally, having people tell you what they know is true. That's the world we live in. But I watched a documentary, and I'm very reluctant to support programs on my videos. I don't generally support products or programs. I have a lot of products and shows that I really like, but I find that I feel that if I share these things, then I'll be promoting things. But to an extent, we kind of have to promote things that we like or things that are, helpful. So I watched a documentary for the second time today. It's on Netflix. It's free. Many of you might have seen it. It's called The Nature of Existence. And it also comes with, there's a companion series to it that they recently put on there, which is like another 6 or 7 shows. And each one's about an hour and a half long. So it's a good amount of information. But take it for what it is. It's one man's search for the meaning of life. He travels around the world and he asks people, what's the point of life? What is the meaning of happiness? What is the meaning? What is sin? What is God? Those questions. And generally it's a religious-based conversations that he has. And it's a fascinating look into the inside of people. It gives kind of a wide view of all the different cultures and assessments people have about what is good and bad. And it shows that many of the values that people hold strongly in the religions are based on fears of human-like attributes. For example, one of the questions he asked is, why is God so concerned with our sexuality? And one psychologist's answer was, well, it's because humans are concerned with sexuality. Anything humans are concerned with, we put into that form and claim that that's God's will or whatnot. But I would recommend that if you haven't seen this documentary and you have Netflix, or maybe you could find it online somewhere, but it's a very interesting kind of outlook on what people see as important. And the idea is for us all to find common ground here where we can make something happen. And I kind of wanted to touch base on this one factor of growth as a society. A lot of folks talk about when are we going to rise up, when are the people going to organize and finally take our world back, take our nation back, take our lives back. And my thought is that according to what I've seen in the alternative community, if you will, I don't think it's ever going to happen that way. I don't think there's ever going to be a large movement anymore, at least not like there was in the past, where a large group of people are all organized and rallied around one cause. It happens all over still. But what I mean is to get a worldwide cause where everyone is involved. The reason why it's impossible, I see, is because anytime someone takes charge, or rather anytime there's a group, it has to be managed. And anytime it's managed, there's somebody who can take advantage. And anytime there's someone who could take advantage or has power, people become suspicious. So every group I've seen rise to any particular power state, to where they might have the clout to make a change, is infiltrated. And where does that leave us? We're left as individuals to make differences in our communities. And that's where we're at. In other words, I know people are waiting for this big movement to jump on the bandwagon. They're waiting for this big thing to happen. And people are scared, The basis for religion is the fear of death. And this is pretty well known, and it's pretty obvious to anyone who's looked into all their different religions to see, what is it that we want out of these things. We want a happy afterlife. And the question is, do we live a happy life now, or do we live a happy life later? And the idea is to live a happy life always, and to live the best we can now so our spirit can carry on. Maybe we can carry some of those values into the next realm, if there is reincarnation, if there is a God. But trying to understand the whole of it, to me, is futile. I don't see any point in trying to think that we can wrap our head around everything. And it's kind of human nature to try, but I don't think we're going to make it to the point where we can explain the universe, and who would want to? And that's really the whole basis of this video. Is what I wanted to say was, do you really want the truth? And if you were given the truth, a glimpse of the truth, everything, why we're here, what we're supposed to be doing, what time is, think about it. Would you really want that? I personally wouldn't. And there was a time when I thought I would. There was a time when I really thought I wanted all the answers. But it's like a vacation. If you're so concerned about getting there, you miss the trip. And often when you get there, it's not all what you thought it would be. And the view along the way is so beautiful. Regardless of what happens when you get there, you had fun. And that's where I'm at in life. To make it the best I can, and the best I can for those around me. And one of the things that he brought up in that documentary was, he asked he's a Mormon, and I can't remember his name. He's the one who wrote the movie Ender's Game. I don't know if I think he wrote the book that they made the movie on. And he has this very cocksure attitude. And they asked him, what is spirituality? And he said, well, I think it's just people that have a warm, fuzzy feeling inside once in a while and think that they're in touch. And I find that really offensive, because I've heard that from a lot of religious folks. As in, if they're comparing their religious experience to another experience that they've never had, and claiming that their experience is true and that others aren't. The question that the religious folks tend to argue is always, in the end, is to say, look at this, look at the amazing world around you. This couldn't be just by chance. It must be a God. That's not the question, though. The question is, why do you believe the Bible? It's not, why do you believe in a God? And there seems to be a huge division between that. There's a huge hurdle to jump between believing that we're here for a purpose and believing that a book is true. And so, by asking people questions and why they believe these things, we can get a better grasp and understanding. But most of the views that the religious cultures hold are based on the fear of death, and are based on our own misunderstandings of the universe and our lack of knowledge about why we're, what our purpose is. Humans, we're inquisitive by nature. It's just what we do. So what do we do about it? Well, nothing. We're always going to have different belief systems. We're not always going to accept what others believe, and we're not going to be able to organize a huge movement of people who are totally aware. I don't believe that a world of one religion is going to help solve our problems, nor do I believe a world of atheists would solve any of our problems. Nor do I believe it would be good or bad in either case. I think personally that human nature may have some not so pretty attributes, but humans in general, I think, are good, and that we don't need to believe in something to be good, but we need to believe in something in order to keep going. It's what keeps us going. You don't work at your job just to work. You work to get a paycheck. You don't do hobbies just because you want them finished. You do it because you enjoy doing them. And likewise, the search for truth should be all about the search. And we should really stop drawing conclusions based on what we think should be right. But we all do it, and we're all guilty of it. But we're not going to be able to organize this huge group and this huge movement to change the world, because anyone who's tried in the past has utterly failed. They instantly become suspicious. So in that case, it's up to you as an individual to make a difference. Not to wait for somebody else to start a coalition to change the world, or wait for somebody to figure out the answers. Don't jump on the bandwagon. Jump on the hunt. Get into some deep thinking, some books, some understanding, and be part of the solution as best you can. But try not to draw conclusions based on what you've learned and assume that you know better than everyone else, because this is the plague of humanity right now. We're all in this together. We'll have to come to a certain understanding at one point or another where we stop arguing our points and start asking more questions and accept the fact that some of the answers we can't know. Namaste, everybody. Have a great evening.